we've had 20 years of a conversation about supporting veterans' mental health. I mean, it started as early as 2003, 4, and we're to a place now to where it's pretty much universally recognized that veterans' mental health is a problem. It's something that needs to be looked at, and society needs to support. That conversation has yet to even be started, to get started with our first responders, and the psychological and trauma that they endure is, I hate to say it, it's probably more than any of our veterans, because we do these snapshots. They do it daily. Keith Dempsey, the second chapter of the book, says it's called Suffering in Silence because nobody knows to talk about it. They don't believe they could. A lot of them don't want to talk about it because they don't want to take away from us in the military. They don't want to be seen as comparing themselves to us if they say, yeah, I think I have PTSD. And so the grassroots effort happens in the fire halls and in the police precincts and on the SWAT team. It just happens in conversation. They're figuring it out for themselves. The resources aren't there. And so to understand, one, that how heavy of a burden it is and that they decide to carry it, and two, the support for it really isn't there, and they still end up doing 30 years on the force or 20 years in the fire hall. It just really is incredibly inspirational. And the best way I can frame it, the best thing I can say is, when you leave your house as an American, we talk about being entitled. Our largest sense of entitlement is that if we wreck our car, somebody will be there to save us. If a natural disaster happens, somebody's going to be there to save us. If our house catches on fire, somebody's going to be there to save us. If we go into a medical emergency at Walmart, somebody's going to be there to save us. We do not doubt that. Nobody doubts that. Now, is the police always going to make it there in time if there's an active shooter or something? Those are situations that are incredibly rare that people may doubt. But as far as car wrecks and somebody, you always believe they'll be there, and you never think about what that means to them that are there in those worst moments of our life. And just to think, like, when you look at this book, we've got somebody from LAPD and Baltimore County SWAT. We've got firemen from Dalton, Georgia. We've got police officers, Indiana State Patrolmen. These aren't large cities. These are small municipalities and local rural areas, but their stories are just as impactful as what you see in Chicago Fire or hear from, like Nashville or Boston.